cases just within 2 hours. And people on social media have been on high alert, curious about what is currently happening. In my
Have you witnessed this from the start?
Yeah, I already called the cops. I think the girl's suicidal.
Why did you...
Richard! Can you tell me now? Who is he? Oh, Richard, this is the second one. Hey, open the door! What is this? Are you nuts? That's gasoline. Hey, what are you doing? This is 911. What's your emergency?
I need help.
Oh, how old are you?
I'm 17.
Okay. What's happening? Tell me.
There's, my friend,
Where is he? I'm locating your location. Hold on.
on a rooftop. He has been acting weird. He has been saying these words.
What has your friend been saying?
He stood me up.
Incidents across the country. Disturbingly, the accidents happened almost at the same time and date. What could have triggered such an event? And is it something we should prepare?
To enlighten us, a head psychologist from a well-known asylum is here to share with us some clarity. But for that, we have a spiritual expert here with us to give us some insights.
Good morning, Mr. Macmillan Hyde of Edward Hina Psychological Asylum and Helga de la Cruz. We are pleased to have your presence.
Grateful morning, everyone. The pleasure's all mine.
Wonderful morning. It's nice to be here.
Now, to give our guests and ourselves a deeper insights towards the accident, we have asked for their relatives' cooperation with the live interview.
That's right. However, due to how bizarre this case is, we only invited one relative for victim.
With everything clear, let's move with haste and solve this case.
Good morning, everyone. We hope you're ready for the interview.
For starters, me and Mr. Heidi here will explain the interview format.
We will interview each and every one of you here. However, as we interview one person, we ask you to reflect of the accidents, of your recollections, and try to connect it with the statements of the other interviewees.
Through this step, with everyone's cooperation, we will be able to finish this case in no time. So please cooperate well.
Please answer our questions truthfully and simply. And that would be all. We may start the interview now.
My name is Salma Magda. I'm Annalisa Makawawa's friend.
I see. Can you tell us about your friend? What was she like before and when these things happened?
Annalisa was a nice person. Even though she faced so many harshness in life. Being a victim of sexual assault, being disowned by her own parents. She was a strong person who cared a lot for people. But that one night, she got home. She was strange. Very strange.
What sorts of strange things? Can you tell us?
Her personality seems to have changed as well. When she got home, she seemed more her distant and quiet. The only time she spoke was when she told me that she got a new job that pays well. And even when she told me, it sounded sad. All in all, seemed like a different person. And about 2 weeks later, something happened. She burned her apartment with her children and herself with it. She burned the whole thing, and I wasn't able to save her. Nor the children.
According to the files, victim 3 Makawawa, Annalisa died of burning, while the children died due to suffocating.
Can you tell us other changes about your friend in detail?
Well, after finding a job, she did start coming home late and leaving house early in the morning. She didn't tell me about her job, only about who her employer is.
And what about the employer did she tell you?
I'm not sure, but I think the name's Ferdinand Manganaka.
We see. Thank you for your answers. You may meet them. Now, for our next interviewee, the witness of the second case in Maragondon City. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Andres Abalos. I'm a janitor in the Flower Lily Hotel, and I'm not really close with Ferdinand, but I casually passed by him in the streets. Please state your information and what you noticed different with Mr. Ferdinand. What was he like? We're not exactly close, so we don't talk a lot, but he's always here 10 in the morning, and that's around 2 hours before my shift starts, and usually he opens the door before me, but we don't really have anything in our schedule that's common with each other. But I do remember having a conversation with him in the cashier's area. What is it that you talked about with Mr. Ferdinand? Honestly, it wasn't really much of a conversation. It was like he was ranting at me, you see. He told me about his life, like how he lost his left eye and his right leg, and how he was kept an orphan in his village until they found his grandparents, and until he was kept in captivity, and then there happened to be an accident. I believe it was a fire, and he was the only survivor.
That was the famous Maragondon burnt house, where everything was left in ashes, except Ferdinand.
And somehow he also told me about him robbing our guest in the hotel, saying he stole their money and their jewelry. However, there was this part where he told about his wife and about taking care of stray dogs. His wife is Adimel or Amidel. I can't really remember her name, and he just told me that his wife died of cancer, stage 4, and he couldn't save her because they lacked money. He also told me that his wife was religious. They always attend the church, I believe, they say. At least he said so. Condolence to his family and to him. What more do you know? And then he told me he was feeling hopeless and he thinks he's cursed, that whoever becomes close to him would die in the end. And so after that, as if he just disappeared. I never had any conversations with him anymore, nor do I see him in the streets until I saw him on our rooftop when I was going to take the garbage. I talked to him and he said suddenly he could change the world and that there's more opportunity and that's his meeting his hope and that there's something strange about it and I can't take it off my mind. And then he told me that, Andres, I'm yet to meet my hope. I'll be meeting him as he stood me up.
Those words, I think I've heard it before. Please continue.
And then he also told me he was a leader of something. It was something like a religious group. However, I can't remember what was the name.
A group?
Yes, a group, but I can't remember what it was called. Alright, thank you for your answers. They're really informative. You may mute yourself now.
Moving on to the next interviewee, please speak for yourself.
My name's Gabriela Aaron and the victim I know is Surya. She doesn't really have any surname since she was an orphan since she was young. I knew her but I wasn't close with her. We used to be in the same orphanage until I got adopted by my parents. But I do know little things about her. Ever since she was young, she was weirder than everyone. She liked dark things, that's why it was hard to understand her. But I did try to. She was always alone and quiet. She was quite a timid child. Also, she hated her religion. She never went to church or anything to praise God. She always said that her ears hurt whenever we sang worship songs around her. There was a certain line she said that I could never forget.
A certain lie. Can you tell us what is it?
She said she'd rather bow to the evil than praise the light. When she said that, everyone, even I, left her alone. It was just too much for someone to say. And months after that, I got adopted. Honestly, even though she had it rough, Surya was never someone who hurt herself or to do this. If there's something admirable about her, that's her willpower to keep on surviving.
I see. Well, that's pretty much everything about her in the case files. Thank you very much, Miss Aaron. Last interviewee, please.
Hello. I'm Stephanie, 12, and I'm Kyle Mabayag's only child. About the case in the carnival, father took me there for a ride, but I didn't know why. I was clueless. Maybe it was for a farewell preparation. Then we met a guy, and father called him FM, like it's a code name. And I was riding in the carousel when they left me, and they talked privately.
From what you're saying, FM is mysterious and also based on your father's paraphernalia. He had a note saying, "To FM, I am a victim of a bully. I was fat and timid. She made fun of me, also stabbed me in my vital points with a pen. We met again in a conference and I trembled at her presence. She's so narcissistic and manipulative. I want to run away from her, from this world. Please accept me in you." And that's it. Lang. As you can see, the letter was burned. That was where the note ends. And as you can see, it was burned halfway through. It was found in Kyle Mabayag's pockets. This note is a vital evidence that shows Kyle Mabayag has an important relationship with Ferdinand Magnakaw. To continue, please tell us what your father told you when he left.
He continuously told me that he loves me, and father seems off. And I asked him why he was saying this, and he said it was for his past, and it was for my future.
With your future being still unknown, what did he promise you?
Secure insurance and guidance. No mention of a company.
If so, then is Mr. Mapayag and FM a part of any fraternity or community? A cult perhaps?
Father wouldn't call it any of those. I think he prefers calling it a religion. In there, we have like a small group called BNP, and he has terrifying posters scattered on our walls.
What's BMP? Do you have any knowledge of it? Bubuo ng mapagkakatiwalaan na paniniwala.
That is all I know. I'm sorry.
We respect your feelings and we are sending our deepest sympathy. We'll further navigate the all-in-one incident of this mysterious Cavite genocide.
Now, thank you to everyone. We appreciate your cooperative attitudes. All you said are of large help to us. You have my thanks.
Indeed, you've done us a big help in us narrowing down this case.
I believe that should be all. You may leave now the meeting as we discuss how we will progress with this case. Thank you. We sure did end up having more information than what the case files have.
Yes, that's true. In fact, I already made it to Europe as to what is happening, thanks to Stephanie's statement.
Well, that's good to hear, and I already did my assessments. However, it seems to me that some things are unclear.
That's true. Indeed, some things are funny.
Well, regardless, I believe we can connect the strings right now.
Well, based on the information the interviewers gave, I believe it's safe to think there's an underlying connection between our victims. And I believe that the connection is that they are all part of a cult that introduces itself as bubuo ng mapagkakatiwalaan na paniniwala. And through their auras, I can feel that these actions done by the members of this cult isn't something simple. I think they were doing a ritual, something like a blood sacrifice, should we say. A summoning ritual, throughout the history, blood sacrifice have been used for various reasons. To cite some, Jews used lamb blood to protect their eldest sons when the angel of death visited. That came from the Bible and in black books, or books used by ancient witches. Blood sacrifice are used in summon or summoning powerful beings.
Ha 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 ha! What a wonderful theory, Miss De La Cruz. However, I must say that we humans can really be quite emotional. Many of us are driven to do many things by our own emotions. Things we don't even think we can do until we did, because our emotions said so.
That is true, but how do you wish to debunk my conclusion?
Well, simply, we can conclude that all these actions may be caused by internal factors. They went through a lot. Society nowadays seems to have forgotten the word virtue and tends to act quite like trash from time to time. And those actions can lead to the diminish of others, something we call suicide. People who undergo a lot of trauma in their life may acquire depression and anxiety, and many many of them doesn't even know they have the disorder until it's too late. Depressed people tend to be suicidal, and they show it in their behavior. If not cared upon and guided well, victims of depression may end up giving in to their suicidal tendencies. And as for the events happening on the same time and date, well, it could be coincidence, can't it be? I mean, if there are people who gets born on the same date and time, then there are chances that people would also die at the same date and time. And that would be my conclusion. I believe that all the victims are depressed people who gave in to their suicidal tendencies due to much stress from life and traumas as well.
Oh, what about the things they all said?
What thing?
They all said he stood me up, didn't they? Could that be a coincidence?
Well, it could be.
Well, those sure are creepy.
Sure, you're right about that, but
Well, how about the conclusion of our guest? What do you think?
well, I'm more of a rational person myself, so I think it's safer to believe Mr. Hyde's conclusion. But on the other hand, Miss De La Cruz's statement seemed really believable as well.
You're having a hard time there, partner. But for me, I think Miss De La Cruz has a better point.
Well, people have different ideologies, so I guess that's that. They believe what they want, so I guess it's better to let them decide.
Well, what do you think? Which conclusion are more believable?
If you want updates about this case, then tune in for our next episode.
This would be up to the Cavite Genocide, Episode 2.
Bye everyone.